So I got a couple more eBay junk lots to look at. Again, this is one of my favorite systems, the TG16. This is the TG16 TGCD dock. I actually paid $100 for this shipped. And it was like not really broken, but kind of untested. And I think more what it was is he didn't have a CD-ROM to test it with, but they probably did put a TG16 in and test it. And I think, if I remember right, that side worked fine. So I'm really only worried about if the CD part works. So I have a PC Engine CD I'm going to put in there. I couldn't find a TG16 one. And one of my TG16s I know works, and one of my TGCD AC adapters, and the TGCD card. The second lot was some controllers. There's two of the regular controllers, and both of them are missing the plug on the very end. Very common for those to pull out. And then I also got a turbo stick. I got all three of those for $35 shipped, so I thought that was a hell of a bargain, even though those cords are probably not reusable. And I thought, you know, if anything, turn them into duo controllers, because it's the same controller, just a different cord end, and you can still buy, I think you can still buy a duo type cord to put in this, and that would be excellent. So I'm going to at least test the turbo stick if I can get all this stuff figured out. So to test the dock, first we'll just get a TG16 inserted, and you do have to lock the CD. That's another thing that people miss. You have to lock that in order for the whole thing to work. And then you lock it down there, and then when you turn the dock power switch on, it'll lock that. And you can still control it with the TG16 power switch. So I'll get power to the dock and hook up composite video and stereo, and then I'll put in a game. Okay, we got Bonk's Adventure, PVM. Kind of expected it to work anyway, honestly. For those new to my channel, my PVM is all messed up, but I don't really do a lot of RGB mod work anymore, so I'm not too worried about it. But if it seems a little off on color, like reds or super bright, that's why. I just don't want to mess with it, honestly. So let's put the PC Engine CD in there and make sure the CD game works. Alright, so I've got Red Alert in the CD-ROM. I've got the turbo stick hooked up. Run button works. Oh, I already see a problem. My number 1 button turbo slider is not only missing the gray button, but actually the stock that it attaches to is completely broken. So probably not an easy part to replace. There we go. We got music for the CD, so yeah, and the video looks really dark. Again, that's just the PVM. I could probably actually put it on that monitor up there and it would look normal. It's not as easy to switch around all my inputs on that one. But it works. So once again, a misadvertised eBay lot as junk. I guess I could try to figure out how to test more of the turbo stick, but I'm guessing just because that thing's missing and broken is why it was sold as is or whatever. So yeah, that's not a bad purchase for $100, because honestly that dock is getting harder and harder to find, working, and man, I couldn't even tell you what prices are these days, but I know it's worth a lot more than 100. So good deal. Okay, so for the stick, it looks like the 1 button is not responsive. I can't jump. Even with turbo on, it doesn't do anything. So I'm wondering if maybe the turbo switch did get messed up somehow. Slow works. I think select and start both work. I think both the turbo on and off buttons work. I just turbo slider works on 2, and all the directions work because I was playing Red Alert, and of course that's an overhead map, so I could turn in all directions, so that worked. I just couldn't use the one button. So I'll have to look into that. I doubt that it's the cord. I think it's got a encoder chip in it, so oh well, still for 35 bucks, that was still a good buy. Oh, and about the noise from the CD-ROM, in case anybody was wondering, did a video about that a while back. There is a replacement gear for them. They're just noisier than stock because it's really hard to manufacture a gear that small, so there's imperfections or whatever. That's what the noise is, and I probably didn't put enough grease on it either. So I wanted to look into the turbo stick a little bit here, see if maybe it's not a quick fix for getting the one button to work. So we got 6 screws on the bottom, are all Phillips. It's like the really only thing holding the board in place is the turbo slider knobs and maybe a couple of the posts. So yeah, one button is just your normal contacts on the board and a little, was it like a carbon pad on the buttons. It doesn't look that dirty, but I'll find some rubbing alcohol. If I were doing a full restore, of course, I would go through and clean all the pads. Not sure that's dirt or if I'm just removing carbon, but this can't hurt it. It's weird that the slider, that bar right there, is not in here somewhere. Like somebody did take it apart and try to look at it, or made it worse maybe. So it looked like all the way to the right was no turbo. And also a couple clips for this plastic piece. Get to the D-pad contacts, which were working and clean, but may as well clean them up. So we got a locator pin, so it only go on one way. Clean up that ball area a little bit. Looks a little grimy. It wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of grease right there. Spray it down with some lithium grease maybe. I hate this stuff, it just goes everywhere. Need some non-aerosol stuff. Doesn't look like the stick actually has any orientation. does. It's the one thing that wants to pop out too. If you wonder why I reverse the screws, I wait for that click, and then I screw them down because plastic threads are easy to strip. If you try to make new threads in the post, I'm just going to destroy the old ones. Strip it out. And I don't just do that with plastic stuff, I do it with everything. Okay, now we could retest it. Let's see if we fixed button 1. Well, my PVM just got super blurry. Oh, that is awful. It's nothing that we did. Look at that. Turbo works. Of course, I can't adjust it, so it's slowest. Repeat. B button still works. Slow still works. Yeah. Cool. At least there was some kind of repair in this, right?